This is TJ. In this video, I want to quickly share with you 5 free drawing programs that you can download and use for creating 2D art. These programs are very full-featured, but I'm going to emphasize in this video their abilities to create 2D art that can be used for animations or cartoons or artwork for books, things like that. So the programs are Krita, MyPaint, GIMP, Inkscape, and MeMaker. And again, all of them are completely 100% free to download and use. They will all work on Windows, Macintosh, and Linux, with the exception of MeMaker, which is a Linux-only program. So I'll pull up this first one here, Krita. So this is just a screenshot of Krita, a time-lapse video of some work being created using Krita. This is not my work. These are done by other artists, and you can find the attribution in the comments of this video if you're curious about the artists, or if you'd like to support them and check out more of their work. But as you can see, you can do a lot of stuff with Krita. It's a great drawing program. It's got mirror mode, so you can draw like what's happening now. If you draw just one side of the character, it mirrors exactly what you're doing on the other side. It's got a lot of built-in brushes, different brushes and different presets for doing different kinds of artwork. It has presets for doing, if you want to do cartoons, and so different scenes for different cartoons. It has, and comics, I mean, things like that. What else? Different coloring and texture tools. So it's a great program. I believe what you're looking at here was done using a USB drawing tablet. But yeah, so this is that's Krita. This next one we're going to look at is MyPaint, also very similar to Krita. And I believe all these actually are going to be using, except for MeMaker, are going to be using drawing tablets to create the work. So they're not using a mouse and keyboard. But you can use a mouse and keyboard as well. So let's take a look at MyPaint. With MyPaint, it has a very similar feel to Krita, and so this is an example of someone doing coloring some artwork. And so you could actually draw something by hand on a piece of paper and then scan it in and do coloring, like we're seeing here. I'm not sure if this was drawn by hand or if it was drawn on digitally on the computer, but that's one possibility. What are some of the other features? MyPaint is doesn't have as many features as Krita, and it's more basic and kind of easier to use. You can work with different layers. You can everything is drawn in like a raster image. So yeah, and then you can export to different image formats like JPEG or PNG. You can have transparent backgrounds and things like that. But yeah, so that's MyPaint. If we go back, so this next one is GIMP, and GIMP is a cool one. Here's the interface of GIMP, and here's someone creating some artwork in GIMP. And so you can do a ton of stuff with GIMP. It's not most people actually don't use it for drawing. Most people use it for like picture image editing, like photo enhancing and stuff like that. It's very similar to Photoshop, but it has all these different brushes and drawing tools, and you can actually create your own brushes for it. You can download and import brushes. So you can do it, and it's got a lot of cool tools you can work with. And again, these are completely free. They're not like limited trial versions. They're the complete full version. They're open source software. So if you're not sure what that means, you can kind of look that up and figure out what open source is all about. But basically, it's software that's created by the community, and so a lot of these features can be, if you create a feature for it, you can open source that and then give that feature to everyone. So that's kind of the idea behind open source and this type of free software. But so this is GIMP. Hopefully you get an idea for what it looks like and what it can do. This next one we'll look at is Inkscape. And Inkscape is one of my favorite programs. It's a vector image program, so it creates vector images. And here's the interface for it and what it looks like. If you're creating something, this has more of like a cartoon feel to it, so you're not going to create the quality of stuff that we were looking at earlier, or not the quality, but the type of characters and graphics we were looking at in the other programs. But it's a lot easier to come up with really quick artwork using Inkscape, and everything you draw is an object. So unlike with bitmaps, you don't have to really erase and modify things that way. Instead, you can just click on each object and modify it individually, which is one thing I really like about working with vector images and working with Inkscape. So Inkscape is if you're familiar with Adobe Illustrator, it's very similar to Adobe Illustrator. Basically all the same features and all the same functionality as Adobe Illustrator. And I've used both, and to tell you the truth, I prefer Inkscape to Adobe Illustrator. Okay, moving on to the next one. This last one is a program called MeMaker, and I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to just hop over to a Linux machine to show you that. And so with MeMaker, you can actually create different characters. So it's a good option for someone who's not, if you're not really inclined to create great, if you're not very artistically inclined, let's say. This way is a way you can quickly create some different vector images of some characters, and then you can draw your own backgrounds and your own bodies and things like that. But anyway, this is what it looks like, and so you can just very quickly create something up if you want to make a cartoon or an animation very quickly, and you don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on it. Maybe you're not the most patient person. This is a good way to get started. Or if you're not familiar with some of the other tools, you don't want to spend time learning them, you might look at MeMaker. So these are the programs I always wanted to share with you today. Hopefully you found this video informative. As always, you can check out more of my videos here on YouTube at my channel TJ Free, or check out my website too, tjfree.com, for more information. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next video. Take care.